Today we're going to be reviewing a watch that is that good value for money that my recommendation is, if you like the style of this watch, don't even think, just go out and buy it. It's genuinely that good and that cheap that I think if you pull the trigger on this watch, you won't regret it. Now you might think, because I say this watch is one of the best value for money watches that we've checked out, that it might be from AliExpress. However, that's not the case. This is a watch from a very respected micro brand, and one of my personal favourite micro brands too. This is the most affordable watch that this micro brand has ever produced. However, the best part is you're not compromising when it comes to quality. You see, the finishing, the fit and feel of this watch is still top tier, and it also doesn't compromise when it comes to specification. Guys, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Please hit the subscribe button. We're so close. I'm gonna pop a massive bottle of champagne when we get there, so can you make it a little bit sooner, because I fancy a bit of champagne. Now, I don't think this micro brand is making much money on this watch, and that's because it comes in at £150. For my American viewers, that's roughly $200 US. And for that money, you're getting stainless steel, sapphire, 50 meters, a brilliant supplied strap, and it costs considerably less than your average Seiko 5. This watch has been sent over to the channel for free by Vario. I do get to keep it after the video, but as usual, there'll be a dedicated floor section towards the end. Okay, so this is the brand new Vario 1945 A11S. This is by all factors a serious field watch. Now, a clue for the inspiration for the design of this one can be found in the name. This one is inspired by World War II, the A11 watch specifically, which was of course the field watch supplied to US troops. Vario does make a Dirty Dozen watch in the form of the D12. This one goes after that A11 look instead. Now, it is true to original in some aspects of its design, but it also has a little bit of a modern twist to it as well. You see, the stainless steel case isn't perfectly true to original. This one is a lot more angular, sharper almost, with more defined areas and a more modern feeling case. But when I say you're not compromising on quality, one area that is abundantly clear is when it comes to the case finishing. The case finishing on this piece is immaculate. There's brushing on the lugs and the case sides, there's then a small polished edge separating those areas, and then a dual finished bezel. The flat upper surface features a circular brush, then there's an angled section to the bezel which is polished. The finishing here is super consistent, and the transition between each area has been executed perfectly. Now, Vario has stayed a little bit more true to original when it comes to the dial design. This one features your classic sort of oversized Arabic numerals around the dial, with then a minute track on the outside of that, and then 10-minute markers around the perimeter outside of that minute track. There's a small little red triangle up at the 12 o'clock, which I think is a really nice touch, but this dial certainly isn't boring by any means. It's got a really subtle, grained finish to it that I think brings it to life. And one thing I really appreciate about this one is the embossed logo. Original A11 watches featured sterile dials. However, here, because Vario wanted to stay true to original somewhat, but also wanted to, put their name on the watch because they're proud of it, their logo sort of blends into the dial, but it is raised above it. In some lighting conditions, you can't see the logo at all, but then sometimes it reveals itself, and I think it's a nice touch. There's a very light grained texture to this grey dial, and I think because of the colour here, because it's grey, it feels almost like a concrete dial. Now, legibility on this one is fantastic, and that's because of this sword handset. It stands out incredibly well against the grey, and that's because the sword hands feature a black paint finish. There is lume in the centre and on the Arabic numerals, and this watch uses BGW9, so you get a nice blue glow. Now, some of you might have noticed that there's no seconds hand on this dial, but look closer because there actually is. If you look at the central pinion, you'll see a small circular disc that is ticking away. That circular disc features a small white dot, and that is effectively your seconds marker. Now, this is a quartz watch, but it's actually a solar movement. This watch uses the Miyota Solar Caliber 2170. That of course means no battery changes on this watch, which is always nice, and because they've not used, a regular seconds hand, there's no chance of that hand missing any of the markers, which is one of my biggest gripes when it comes to quartz watches. It's a weird look, and to be honest, it's the first time reviewing a watch with this seconds hand, this circular disc on the dial, but I've got to admit, I actually quite like it. You can still tell where you are in the minute because of that white dot, but you don't have to have your feelings hurt because the second hand jumps around the dial and misses every marker possible. Now, because of that solar quartz movement, this watch is nice and thin. Case diameter comes in at 40mm, lug to lug is 47.5mm, and case case thickness is just 9.1mm. On the wrist, this watch wears beautifully. Now it does have quite a lot of wrist presence because the dial here is rather large, but because the lug-to-lug is relatively compact and that case thickness is definitely manageable, it's a comfortable wear whilst having a lot of wrist presence. Lug width on this one is 20mm, so it's going to be any NATO strap or leather strap you throw at it for breakfast, but the supplied strap on this watch is brilliant, as usual with Vario. If you didn't know, Vario started out making straps, so it's sort of their bread and butter. This one is a Cordura strap. It's super durable. It's soft out of the box. It features metal holes, so you know it's going to last for a while, and it just suits the style of watch perfectly, you know, tactical, casual, a great strap pairing, and considering the price point, it's one of the better supplied straps I've had on a watch. Now, flaws, of course. Listen, it's a £150 watch, right? It's not going to be perfect. I've not mentioned water resistance, and that's because it's quite low here. It's only 50 meters. Usually, I say 100 meters minimum for a field watch. This one does feature a screw-down case back, but the crown is only push-pull. I don't understand why they didn't do a screw-down crown here and up that water resistance to 100 meters. 50 meters is fine. It's still technically capable of a swim, but on my field watches, I like to see 100 meters. Another one for me, it does wear quite big, and again, that might be, you know, a good feature for some people, but I like my field watches to be a little bit smaller because it's a bit more true to original. I have no problem with the dimensions here because it's a good overall set, but I think it looks bigger on the wrist than the dimensions suggest. I would have preferred it to just be a little bit smaller. Listen, the lume on the hands is brilliant. I mean, it's long lasting and it's bright, but the lume on the Arabic numerals is a little bit disappointing. It doesn't really have a good showing at first, and then it dies super quickly, so it's a double whammy. It's not great on the indexes. And the people that I've shown this watch to, their first reaction is that the dial looks a little bit washed out. I'm guessing it's because of the grey with the white, and then because those indexes aren't applied, you know, they don't sit above the dial. The dial in some lighting conditions sort of all blends into one, although the handset does stand out really well against it, so that it's not an issue of hands, it's more of an issue of dial finish and a lack of contrast. But you've got to remember, this watch is super cheap. It's £150, $200, and considering how much it costs with the flaws, I think it's a no-brainer here. If you need a field watch for your collection, you know, you don't currently have one, it's a no-brainer. Go and buy it. It's £150. Sapphire, solar movement, really good strap. It's one of those watches, set and forget, grab and go. It's always going to be on time, it's always going to look super cool, and it's by a micro brand that I deeply respect, and is also run by one of the nicest people on the planet. If you're not a fan of the grey dial and you want something a bit more traditional, Vario does make this watch in black and white, and if this one is too big for you and you want something a lot smaller, Vario also makes this in 35mm. I personally would have liked to have seen one in the middle, maybe 38mm, but at least you've got a choice in size and colour with this one. This is sort of AliExpress prices, but this isn't an AliExpress brand. It's a proper micro brand watch. Great design, it's got a little bit of a Vario twist on there. Great spec, looks good on wrist. Genuinely, for the price, it's pretty hard to beat. You'll of course find a link for this watch in the description below if you want to check out the other colours available, and if you do decide to buy this one, I doubt you'll regret it. Leave a like rating, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.